exercise professional, if you're a parent, a teacher, a coach, if you're a healthy, fit, strong human being, and people look at you and say, I want to look like you, or can you please help me lose weight, or how do I get healthy, fit and strong, or how do I achieve at my sport, how do I get my body into great shape? And if you're the person that is excited about helping people to do all of those things, what kind of reputation do you want to have? So let's have a look at the word exercise professional, if that's your choice of career. And that's something that I've been doing my whole life and really aware of what those two words actually mean. So if I specialise in exercise, what do I need to know about exercise? What kind of in-depth understanding do I have to have about what exercise does for the human body? How much do I need to know about the human body? How much do I need to know about what exercise does to each of the individual systems in the body to make sure that I'm a healthy, fit, strong human being if I want to be an exercise professional? Now, the word professional is another completely different headspace, and it might be different for you than it is for me, but let's have a look at it this way. If I'm a professional sports person, if I'm a professional race car driver or professional basketball player or professional football player, could that mean that I get paid to do what I do? And is it possible that if I get paid to do what I do, that I must be good at it? Because why would somebody pay me if I wasn't any good at it? So if I call myself an exercise professional, should I specialise in exercise? Should I have an in-depth understanding of what exercise does for the human body? And then should I be so good at what I do that people want to invest money in me? And then what does professional mean? So what are the reasons why, for example, again, would people invest money in a professional sports person? So the professional sports people that get paid the most money, yes, they have to be highly skilled, and yes, they have to play the game, and yes, they have to help people win the game. But have you noticed that they're also the people who are the easiest and best to market? So they treat people beautifully or respectfully, they're kind and loving to their fans. People want to buy their merchandise because they like that person. And what is it that makes us likable? What is it that makes people trust us or believe in us? So if I'm good at something, the people that watch what I do or participate in what I do or appreciate what I do, they have to want to keep being involved with me. So as an exercise professional all of my life, and I'm one of those I call myself a unicorn. It's a mythical creature which sometimes people don't think exist. I've never had a lousy, stinking, rotten job. I've never gone to work and hated it. I've never had a boss I didn't like, because I've always been my own boss. I've always chosen my own hours. I've always worked with the people that I want to work with, and I've always earned the amount of money that I want to earn because I have been an exercise professional all of my life. So for me, understanding exercise has been a driving force, because obviously I want to be good at what I do. And if I'm going to have a career path, have a business as an exercise professional, then how much do I need to know, and what kind of person do I need to be, and what kind of reputation do I have to have? So this is a personal question from me to you, because for me, it's been my career path. I've done this my whole life, and I've made lousy, stinking, rotten, horrible, terrible mistakes, which I'd love you to learn from so that you don't make the same ones. But I've also had some major successes, and I think one major success of mine is that I have done this my whole life. It's been my career, it's been my business. So my question to you, from my heart to yours, is what do you want your reputation to be? Why would people believe you? Why would they trust you? Why would they want to do business with you? Why would they invest money in you? And here's a really important one. Why would they trust you with their body? If you're a car mechanic and you screw up, it may not have major consequences if the car breaks down, because you can get it fixed by somebody else. If you fix any kind of mechanical device, the consequences, people might get annoyed at you if you make a mistake, but it may not be a serious consequence. Have you ever considered that as an exercise professional, if you don't understand how the human body works, if you don't understand anatomy and physiology and safe exercise and what causes injuries and what causes harm to the human body, is it possible that the consequences could be pretty awful? So I'm asking you very personally, what do you need to know as an exercise professional? But probably more importantly, what do you want to know? Because so many people do a course or become educated in the profession of, and I won't call it a profession, I'll call it the fitness industry. A lot of people come into the fitness industry, they want to get a bit of paper, they want to get a qualification so they can go and train people, and that seems to be about as far as it goes. So they do just enough to pass the test, just enough to get by, and usually they're the ones that end up with just enough clients to pay the lousy, stinking, rotten bills, or they end up back out of the exercise profession because they were only average at it or very poor at it. And of course, I don't want that for you. So here's a couple of things to consider when it comes to what you want your reputation to be long term, if this is going to be your career path or your business. So why do people look for an exercise professional, and what is it that excites them about investing time, money, energy and passion into somebody else to help them to lose weight, get fit, get into great shape, be better at their sport? And interestingly, of course, we live in an era of social media where people will look for somebody that looks good. So there's always that question to be asked, do I need to have perfect physique as an exercise professional? And is it possible that there will be people who will choose you because you've got ripped abdominals or tight butt cheeks, or you've got big arms or low body fat percentage, or you've competed in a bikini or a bodybuilding competition, or you're an elite athlete, or you're really good at your sport, and they go, well, if they can do it, I can do it, and they look good, I want to look like them. Is it important to live the example of what you will be preaching? And I hate that word preaching, so I hope that you don't do any of that. If you're sharing information with people, would it be important to live the example of what you're sharing? If you don't, is it possible that people will think you are a hypocrite, or you are dishonest, or there's something about you that's not quite right? And I'll give you an example. Most days, because I'm an exercise professional, has an international fitness business college, I talk to people every single day. And a lot of people share with me, even complain to me, that their personal trainer or personal trainers at their gym, or gym instructors, or people who teach boot camps, or somebody that they know who takes money off people and calls themselves a fitness instructor or exercise instructor, they don't look good, Rowie. How can you call yourself an exercise instructor and be out of shape, or look unhealthy, or have bad posture, or just look unprofessional? So could it be a really important thing to ask yourself, do I look like the very best at what I do? So before you leave your house at the beginning of the day, do you look in your mirror and ask yourself the question, when I walk out of here today, will people look at me and know that I'm the very best exercise professional by first impression? And of course, if people don't know whether you're a nice person, they don't know how much knowledge you've got, they don't know how passionate you are when they meet you for the first time, all they've got to go on is the way you look. So a great question to ask, is it possible that being healthy and fit and strong on the inside will shine on the outside? And I share that because now that I'm an old lady, yes, I used to run around with my bottom cheeks hanging out and my ripped abdominals showing because I wore crop tops and I had my cleavage out, and I used to run around in what is now termed little people's clothes. People used to say to me, is that your little sister's shorts or t-shirt that you're wearing? Because I had all of my bits and pieces available for the world to see. And I am sure that there are people who get motivated, inspired by looking at your beautiful body. But I ask myself a different question now that I'm an older lady and I don't dress like that anymore. And there's lots of reasons I don't dress like that anymore. And I'll give you the very, very personal one. And this is a story I share often, and I hope it hits you as hard as it hit me. I was invited to speak at a medical conference on diabetes, which is the disease that was unknown to mankind up until about maybe 15 years ago. The combination of type 2 diabetes and obesity, and there's a very strong connection. Most people that become obese get type 2 diabetes, or they have some form of cardiovascular disease. So their hoses, their arteries, their body is all clogged up and it's not working very well anymore. So they end up, because they're obese, they end up with this horrible disease. And unfortunately that means amputations, blindness, kidney, renal failure, and unfortunately a lot of people die. In fact, it's one of the biggest killers in the world right now, type 2 diabetes or cardiovascular disease. So the experts in the world got together in Brisbane, Australia, to talk about the pandemic, which is diabetes. And I was asked to speak at that conference. Now, I wasn't asked to speak at that conference because I was an exercise professional. The professional conference organizer for that particular medical conference called me and she said, Rowie, these people have been arguing for 3 days. They can't agree on anything. They're trying to control the pandemic of diabetes and they just need somebody to come in and talk about something that they're not going to argue about, and they need to have a bit of fun. So could you please come in as a professional speaker and chat to these people about being healthy, fit and strong and make it as simple as possible, and please talk about stuff that they won't argue about. So my chat was the last speaker of the conference, and my chat was about how to be healthy, fit and strong, how to prevent and control type 2 diabetes and obesity with 5 things that you can't argue about. And of course I went dressed in a suit, and because I learned very early on that if you want people to take you seriously, you can't run around in tiny little shorts and your bottom cheeks hanging out and your cleavage hanging out, because unfortunately that's not what is taken seriously. Anyway, so I arrived dressed in a suit, and even the professional conference organizer said to me, you're here to talk about health and fitness. I said, yes. So she said, and she was quite shocked, obviously, by the way I was dressed, because it wasn't what she was expecting. After I finished my chat, a leading cardiologist from one of the biggest hospitals in Brisbane said, thank you very much for your chat, and looked at me very bemused, perplexed. And he said, you're obviously from the exercise profession, but I didn't realise because you were dressed professionally. He said, I love your fitness industry. You people dress like strippers. I'm just going to let that sit for a minute. I found that to be highly offensive, not because he offended me. I wasn't dressed like a stripper, but he was telling the truth. You could go to any gym anywhere in the world at any time and find people that probably had less clothes than what most strippers wear at the start of their show. Now, that's not a judgment on my part, but what followed after that was very interesting, because that cardiologist was very happy to share with me that he would never send any of his patients to a personal trainer or a gym or a boot camp, because personal trainers don't have enough knowledge. They don't know what they're doing. And yes, I do find that offensive because this is my profession, but I can't find it offensive because it's the truth. I'm sure that you know as well as I do that there are many, many people who call themselves exercise professionals or fitness professionals or personal trainers or exercise instructors, and they are responsible for people's bodies, but they don't dress professionally, they don't have professional practice, and unfortunately the people who are responsible for the health of the people in our world would never send their patients or their clients to us as exercise professionals. So here's my question. Who is your target market? Who do you want to help? And I get it, because at least half of my career path, I had no interest in preventing any form of cardiovascular disease, or preventing type 2 diabetes, or preventing heart attacks or stroke or dementia, or even I don't even think I was that focused on being healthy. Most of my career path, for at least half of it, I was focused on looking good and helping other people to look good. And that's what most people came to the gym for, because they wanted ripped abdominals or tight butt cheeks, or they wanted to look a certain way. So that was my focus. So I get that there's a lot of people that will come to you because of the way you look. Here's a great question. If that's the reputation that you want, then what are you going to do that makes you unique and different from everybody else? And yes, people will be impressed by your ripped abdominals and your tight butt cheeks. But what happens when somebody comes along who's got more ripped abdominals than you, or tighter butt cheeks than you, or bigger arms than you, or they've got lower body fat percentage than you? Is it possible that people will swap from one guru to another? And I always ask that question because I learned the hard way that people don't care how much we know until they know how much we care. And they don't care about our body. They care about what we can do for their body. And I think the fundamental of being an exercise professional, should it be that we're healthy, fit and strong? Should it be that we're passionate about being in great shape? Should the absolute foundation of what we do be that we live the example of what healthy, fit and strong is? So there's a great question. If you are preaching, teaching, telling, giving information, and I'll share it again, I hope you're not preaching, are you living what you say? So if you're telling people certain, or giving out certain information, or telling people what to do, or you're sharing advice on how to be healthy, fit and strong, are you living that example? And is it possible that people watch what we do more than they listen to what we say? So again, if people are searching the internet, is it possible that they will be looking for the person that looks like they know what they're talking about? Because we only get that one chance to make a first impression, and the first impression is always visual. But as I shared before, now that I'm an older lady, and after I got that big shock from the medical conference about the way we dress, it's really interesting because I'm much closer to 60 than 50, so I'm very aware of there's a time to put your arms away, for example. So I don't wear singlets anymore or dresses without sleeves. I'm always dressed as a professional person. Even when I go running, my shorts are to my knees or below. I usually cover my arms. Interestingly, I live in the South Island of New Zealand, so most days I'm not only dressed with everything covered up, but I've also got a big jacket on. And on cold, really cold days, my jacket comes up to here and it goes down to my ankles because it's wintertime. It's cold here. But interestingly, almost every day, and certainly every time I go out, somebody will say to me, you're obviously healthy, you're obviously fit, you're obviously in great shape. Could you help me to be healthy, fit and strong? Not because I've got my abdominals out, not because I've got my cleavage out, and certainly not because you can see any of my bits and pieces. Here's my question. Is it possible that your healthy, fit, strong body shines out of your face? Is it possible that when you're healthy on the inside, your hair, your skin, your nails, your eyes, your posture, your attitude, your energy, and I call them sparkly bits, the energy that you put out to the world, is it possible that that comes from a healthy, fit, strong inside, and will it shine on the outside? So is it possible that even on an internet screen, even on a telephone screen, that people can see that you're passionate about what you do, you're energetic, you're excited? And that's my question. When people look for an exercise professional, will they look at you and see somebody who is passionate and excited and energetic about being healthy, fit and strong? And are you healthy, fit and strong? And could that be the first impression that's the most important? So the big question I'm asking you is, as an exercise professional, as a coach, as a person who's going to deliver information about how to be healthy, fit and strong, are you excited about it? And the interesting side note for that is I often see people who exercise, but they look really grumpy. They're out for a run, or they're out on their bike, or they're exercising in a class or at the gym, and they've got this real grumpy look on their face. And how are you today? Leave me alone, I'm burning calories. I haven't done my 10,000 steps yet. I see people eating healthy food at the gym, and they've got a Tupperware container and all the macros are all neatly organised and at the right percentages in their little Tupperware container. And I say, is that yummy? And they go, no, it's disgusting, but I'm eating it because it's healthy. The reason I ask, are you excited about healthy food and being healthy, fit and strong and exercising, is it possible that we need to show that on our face? Have you informed your face? If you're excited and passionate about being a healthy, fit, strong person, have you informed your face? Great question. Next question. If somebody's searching for an exercise professional and they're looking predominantly now on social media, I get that, but they will see you. People will see you at the supermarket, or they'll see you at the petrol station, or they'll see you at the chemist, or they'll see you out shopping, or they'll see you in the park, or they'll see you exercising. When people look at you from a distance or close face to face, will they see somebody who looks and acts like an exercise professional, who dresses like a professional person? But if you're not there, so the information that you're sending out to the world, whether it's an article or a blog or a podcast or a post on Facebook, social media, all of your platforms, do you represent somebody who has in-depth knowledge and understanding of not just how the human body works, because there's plenty of experts for that. There's endocrinologists for the hormonal system, there's cardiologists for the heart, there's orthopedic surgeons for bones, there's exercise physiologists for muscles, there's psychiatrists and psychologists and neuroscientists for the brain, there's doctors of dietetics and nutrition for the digestive system, there's immunologists and virologists for the immune system. They all have individual specializations. What we do as exercise professionals is we specialize in exercise. What does exercise do for all of those systems to make sure that a body is healthy long-term, fit long term and strong long term? And the reason I ask that question is each one of those individual experts, and because I have the privilege of investing time with a lot of those people, and I've got some really good friends, for example, who are neuroscientists, they just study the brain. They just study how the brain connects with the body and vice versa, so the central nervous system. But the interesting thing is when it comes to how do I get the brain working better via exercise, they don't know that. They come to me for that because I'm a specialist in exercise. Cardiologists know how the heart works, but they don't learn about exercise. So who do they turn to when it comes to safe exercise? I'll give an example from exercise physiology and people that do research studies on exercise for the brain, the heart, bones, muscles, metabolism, all of those awesome studies that experts do. But I often look at the study and I ask, well, why did you choose that exercise for that particular study? Like, why are we doing that exercise for legs, or why are we doing that particular huffy puffy exercise? And they answer in a very interesting way because that's what everybody else does. Exercise is a very specialised field that the other experts don't usually understand. Even physios and chiropractors who are often involved in rehabilitation for exercise injury, they study the individual joints, but they don't understand how exercise works to keep those joints really strong and how exercise overall, how the human body works overall. So I can rehab your shoulder or rehab your knee or rehab your lower back, but how's that all going to work when we're healthy, fit and strong again? Or how do we get you healthy, fit and strong quickly by exercising your whole body? That's what an exercise professional does. Isn't that exciting? So if you want those top level professionals to take you seriously, how much do you need to know? And if I ask you, do you know your anatomy and physiology? And you reply to me like I used to. I was such an arrogant so-and-so. I was a numbnut. I can't put it any other way. I was a silly person. Because I used to think I knew my anatomy because I knew abs and bis and tris and calves and lats and... This is not anatomy. These are single syllable words. That is not anatomy. And then we do exercises for abs or the core, or exercises for biceps, or exercises for triceps, or exercises for quads, or exercises for lats. Not understanding that the human body works as a single high-performance machine, and should we know? If any exercise professional is questioned, and me as an exercise professional who's now regularly dealing with the top medical professionals, should I be able to ask intelligent questions of these people, which means should I understand how the brain works? How does the central nervous system work? Should I have a good understanding of the neuroscience and the neurotransmitters of the brain and how exercise affects those? Should I understand about the immune system, where it's built and how it works and how exercise affects it? Should I understand how I get really fit? How do I get my cardiovascular and respiratory system really fit so that my body and all of the systems in my body work effectively and really well together? So I have to have a really good understanding of the heart and lungs. I have to understand the skeletal and muscular system, muscles and bones. I need to understand the digestive system because that's the thing from my mouth to my bum that fuels everything. So as an exercise professional, do I need to have in-depth knowledge of all of those things? And I'm asking you, if you were questioned by a cardiologist, by an endocrinologist, by a psychologist, by an exercise physiologist, would you have the right answers? Or even better, could you ask the right questions? Because I would like those people, those professional people, to take us seriously as exercise professionals, because we've got the answer. That big group of doctors and cardiologists and endocrinologists and nutritionists and GPs that I chatted to at the medical conference, they had no clue about exercise. And interestingly, on the screen that said these are the people that can help with the pandemic of diabetes, there was GPs, there was psychologists, endocrinologists, cardiologists, dietitians. We didn't even feature. The medical professionals weren't interested in sending people to an exercise professional to help with what I believe we have the answer to. If somebody exercises, we can get rid of type 2 diabetes in 6 to 8 weeks. That's our product. That's what we do. But why would they take us seriously? And I understand why they don't. The cardiologist said it to me beautifully. you people dress like strippers. And then if questioned about how does the endocrine system and the central nervous system work to get the skeletal and muscular system working so that we increase the metabolism, burn up blood sugar levels, make sure that we have a respiratory quotient that is a fat burner rather than a sugar burner, if we don't understand all those processes, why would the medical professionals take us seriously? So number one is, do you present as a professional in everything that you do, from your posture to your clothing to the way you answer the phone to your professional practices, so your accounting practices with the way you handle money, do you have a clean facility? Why would people on first impression want to do business with us? Would they trust us with their human body? And then everything else that we do after that, does it scream of, and this is one of my favorite quotes, what I say means nothing. What I do screams loudly who I really am. So if somebody looks at what you do, so whatever exercise you prescribe, and here's a great question. Me as an exercise professional, I would like to know that every single exercise that I suggest, that I share, that I put my name on, that said Rowie said I should do this exercise, I would like to know that I could stand in a court of law and be questioned by a judge and be questioned by all of those other medical professionals and stand firm that I understand why that's a good exercise and how it works if it's done safely, how and why. And if I don't know the answer to that, and I've got to share with you again, for at least half of my career, if I was put in a court of law for choosing an exercise, I didn't have an answer. I'm embarrassed to tell you that, but please learn from my mistakes. If somebody had asked me how the central nervous system works, how the neurotransmitters work inside the brain when we exercise really hard, I didn't have a clue. I wasn't interested because I was too interested in ripped abdominals and tight butt cheeks. And I'd like to think that our profession is more than that. I'd really like to believe that what we do is not just the cure for coronary heart disease, type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis. I get excited about all of these because these are killer diseases that I believe we have the prevention and cure for. So if I can prevent cardiovascular disease, then people are less likely to have a heart attack, less likely to have a stroke, they won't get type 2 diabetes, they won't go blind, they won't get limbs amputated, they won't have renal failure, they're less likely to get Alzheimer's and dementia, that they're less likely to be depressed because their brain's working really well. These are the things that exercise does for people. You can hope you can hear in my voice and see in my face how excited I am about it. And I want those professionals to take us seriously. But more importantly, I want the people in your life, in my life, in the world to know that it's simple and easy to be healthy, fit and strong. And that's one of the next questions I'm going to ask you. If you understand how the human body works, the next part is, are you a genius? And a genius, by definition, according to Albert Einstein, is you can take something complicated like the endocrine system or the central nervous system or the cardiovascular system and make it simple and easy to understand. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people in the exercise business, or I'd call it the fitness industry, who take something really simple and make it complicated. If we get fit and if we get strong, what will happen to the human body, and should we understand that? If I get puffed, I'm going to get fit, then what happens? If I overload my muscles and bones, I'm going to get strong, then what happens? And if I can't understand that and can't explain that simply, then how can I actually help people? So do you have the ability, do you have the capability, understanding words to be able to explain how the human body works to somebody who's 5, somebody who's 15, somebody who's 105 years young? All of those people need our help. But if we make it complicated, if we make it hard, if we make it long, if we make it boring, if it's giving people food to eat that they don't like, if it's giving people exercise to do that they don't want to do, if the exercise is too long and it doesn't fit in with their lifestyle, is it possible that unfortunately they won't stick to their exercise program, which means they won't get fit and strong, which means we can't help them? So here's my really special question. The reputation that you want is going to be based on who your target market is. So will there be people who are attracted to your ripped abdominals and your tight butt cheeks? Of course. Is it possible that they'll still be attracted to you because you've got a beautiful, happy, smiley face, because you've got a positive attitude, and because your health and fitness is shining through your face rather than exposed in your body? And that's just a choice that we all have to make. Is it possible that we won't be taken seriously if we talk about abs and thighs or abs and quads and the core and tris and bis and delts and lats? They're the reasons why the medical professionals don't take us seriously, because we don't even use the full words. And then do we understand how all of those muscles and bones and ligaments and tendons and joints and the central nervous system, the endocrine system, the immune system, the digestive system all work together to make sure that we're a healthy, fit, strong human being? When people look at your social media, when they look at the exercise programs that you write for people, when they look at the nutrition advice that you give, would you back yourself in a court of law? So would you say, this is why I've chosen this exercise, this is why I've chosen this eating plan, and this is how it works? And just as an interesting side note, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a dietitian, I'm an exercise professional. And often we have a lot of people in the fitness industry, and I wouldn't call them professionals, who go into an area that we're not qualified for. And I get that we have to fuel ourselves for exercise, and we need to know what the macronutrients are, and we need to know how they work inside the body, and we need to know what energy systems require what energy sources. And we need to have a really good understanding of that. So people know that if I eat this, this will happen. If I eat this way, I'll be able to exercise this way. But once we start writing diets for people, and once we start giving people nutritional plans, is it possible then that the dietitians and nutritionists might not take us seriously? Those people have studied, that's their lane of expertise. I'm an exercise professional, and I want to help people to be healthy, fit, and strong. Is it possible that if we give out information that's simple and easy to understand, it's not complicated, it makes or gives people something that they think they can do, or they know they can do because it fits into their lifestyle, is it more likely that they will trust us? They will believe us, and they will know that the information that we're giving is coming from the right place. So the reputation that you want to have as an exercise professional, as a personal exercise coach, as somebody who delivers information about health and fitness, do we need to live the example? Do we need to know what we're talking about? Do we need to have in-depth knowledge and understanding so that we can ask the right questions of the medical professionals? And if we want to build relationships with medical professionals so they do refer their patients and clients to us, do we need to be the professional person that can be respected? And I don't want to, I have been, for most of my career path, I was the person that dressed like a stripper, and I wondered why people didn't take me seriously. If you are in the supermarket, or you're at the petrol station, or you're at the you're just out shopping, if you come across a medical professional, you're standing next to somebody in the line at the supermarket and they share with you that they're an endocrinologist or a psychologist, wouldn't it be nice to have a professional conversation with them, because you can ask the right questions and you're dressed professionally? I've got to tell you that for at least half of my career, I would have been embarrassed if the person next to me had shared with me that they were a brain surgeon or they were a neuroscientist, which I'm sharing that because I have a lot of friends now that are neuroscientists. But I would have been embarrassed because, like my cardiologist said, he loved that the people who work in the exercise industry dress like strippers, because he was a bloke, and blokes like to look at half-naked women. I get that. But he didn't take us seriously. And if you want to be taken seriously as an exercise professional, what are your professional practices? Do you specialize in exercise, and do you know it and understand it in such a simple way that somebody who's 5 can understand it? And last but not least, I can't change what adults do. I've thought I could my whole career path, but adults are going to do what adults are going to do. They smoke and they drink and they gamble and they eat low nutritious food from a drive-through restaurant, and are they good or bad? That's not up to me to decide. Adults can do whatever they want to do, but our kids, I want them to grow up in a world where it is perfectly normal to be healthy, to be fit, to be strong, to be mentally tough, to be happy. And I want to live the example for them. And it's really special when you talk to a 5-year-old, and I do a lot of that, and we talk about how the human body works, and I teach them about dopamine and serotonin and brain-derived neurotropic factor and muscles and bones, and they spell out the words for me, and they get excited about, if anything ever chases me, my body will produce the energy that I need, the movement drugs, so that I can run away or turn and fight. And That's a young person who grows up to be a healthy, fit, strong adult because they understand how the human body works. So do you want to be the exercise professional who can explain healthy, fit and strong to a 5-year-old? So perhaps that 5-year-old can take that information home to mum and dad, and maybe that will make some changes. I can't change what adults do because they're just going to do what they do. But isn't it beautiful that children who are passionate about something, they get a bit pushy, don't they? Come on, mum, let's drink some more water. Come on, dad, let's eat some more veggies. Come on, mum and dad, let's get outside and get some sunshine and some fresh air. If I can have an influence on kids, then I'm really excited about what the future looks like. So whoever your target market is, whoever you want to impress upon, whoever you want to express your professionalism to, whoever you want to help to be healthy, fit and strong, may you attract those people by your reputation. So what is your reputation going to be? Great question.